So we have no life insurance, no health insurance.
We all know.
And I'm on Medicaid by the end. I mean Medicare, and so is some of the board members.
So am I.
Okay, so.
Okay? But I understand you're paying $600 a month. But what you're getting from the town is an offset as a family plan. Is it more than $600 a month?
No.
What does a family plan cost us today?
I'm talking about what we get. Here, let me go through for the public, okay, how this works. We have a PBA contract, and we have a CSEA contract. The police department, they get full coverage. They don't contribute. If they elect not to take it, if they've got coverage through a spouse or whatever, they get 50% buyout. So half the cost goes to the officers. With the CSEA, in the CSEA, the buyout there is 25%. And what we did, we froze that last year in the contract with CSEA. So that as the escalating costs go up in medical care and the premiums, we would use 2,000, I think either 8 or 9 as a standard. I think it was 8. So we froze that. Now with the town board, rightly or wrongly since I got here, and long before that, there's two things. People get pay, and people get medical insurance. Now, and the people on the board get a 25%, as does the CSEA buyout. I think for the public, I think that we just heard General Motors, who went bankrupt, they eliminated their medical plan with DuPont that I worked for. And when I retired, I had to pay $100 a month, and now I pay $600 a month. And Mr. Capella, who worked for another company, they eliminated his. So this is kind of like, well, okay, we got some degree of medical coverage here working for the town. Now let's talk about what we do make. Okay? We're not taking an increase in pay this year. The chief makes, I think, well into the 90s, maybe 100,000. All the department heads make well into the 60s. I make 39,000. I put in between 50 and 60 hours a week. 50 to 60 hours a week. I don't get paid overtime. I don't get a retirement. I get squat. I don't make what my secretary makes, where I just basically there. So, and these folks here who put in hours, I can't tell you how many hours this week that Ken and Lou are putting in and negotiating with the village and preparing for those meetings. Dozens of hours. They're here every day because Lou's retired and he can't. I think that the best deal the public are getting is right here in this board. We're professional. We're good at what we do. We're thinking through everything. And I can share with you right up, I'm not embarrassed to tell you about it. If I was working back where I come from, I'd be making over $250,000 a year. And I'm working for 39 here. And putting more hours in and enjoying it more, I must say.
You would have been laid off because of your age by now.
That's probably right. I'm over the hill. But I'm just trying to share the relativity of things. Like we were talking the other day, do you realize the people who run this hospital over here get $600,000? They're managers.
We're
the people with a lot.
We're not talking about. We're not talking about the hospital.
Well, I'm talking about hours putting in and what we're receiving.
You guys do a hell of a job. I'm not arguing that.
Okay. No, I'm just explaining to you about the medical.
Yeah, but how much does that put in, add to the salary, what they're...
25% of what, I think it's $14,000 a year, is it?
Yeah.
$14,000 a year is medical for a family. Okay. And you get 25% of that, $3,500, and the police get $7,000. CSEA get $3,500, PBA get $7,000, we get $3,500. So you take my $39,000 plus $3,500, there's my salary.
So that's what the 42 is on the page. That adds, that's a total number. 40, this says 42.
Okay.
So it's 39 plus the 35 is where you come up with that number.
Right, okay.
And the town council is whatever their salary is plus their...
90 something hundred. 98, 97, somewhere around that, yeah.
98,
yeah, a year.
Board members make $9,800.
$9,800 a year.
Plus 35
plus 3,500 if
That would be over
if you
12,000
change
a year, since 10,000 on here.
Can I clear that up?
it. Please, Bill.
Because I'm not where you are with the supervisor's salary, so I don't know what it is without looking at it. But medical is not on that same line. Whatever that wage is the wage. Then you add the medical. The medical is
Doug makes the 42,000 plus the 3,500.
whatever. I'll take a look at what the salary. Yes, and
No,
I
they're
think it's
You better pay me more here, Billy, because I look at mine and I do my mathematics at 39,000.
No, I'm not here to get on taxes increased. I'm
Well,
trying
that may be
Oh,
this
no,
year,
I know.
Doug. That may be this year.
This year.
Yeah. I think you're looking at 2010.
I'm looking at what's on here that I picked up on the table.
Yeah, he's a year ahead of you.
Okay.
A year ahead of you.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
so you know.
Anyway, your point's well made,
Yeah.
and the board will consider that in their deliberations tonight. Okay. Very good. Any other comments from the public? Yes.
Good evening. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Matthew Imperial. I'm Sergeant with the Town of Goshen Police.
Excuse me, let me pick that mic up. I just want to make sure you get picked up on the tape. Thank you.
I'm a Sergeant with the Town of Goshen Police Department. I'm here on behalf of Chief Marsh. He unfortunately couldn't make it. He's hospitalized for a heart condition, so he's over at the hospital. So I'm speaking on his behalf. He asked me to read off this letter just this afternoon. Yeah.
This is more important. What's going
Want to
on?
Uh,
give us some input on this?
As soon as we know, we'll find out. But he's spending the night over at the Yard Mill, so
Okay.
we'll know if we find out more.
Okay, thank you.
This is from his mouth, so if I can just take a few minutes here. I'm here this evening to discuss some of the issues facing the upcoming 2010 police budget. As everyone knows, the budget is being prepared. As the Chief of Police, I've been directed by the Town Board to reduce expenditures by 10% of my total budget from last year's totals. This means that $150,000 must be eliminated from an already stressed police budget. Myself, my officers, and staff who work for the police department are acutely aware and are not unsympathetic to the financial situations faced by the Town of Goshen taxpayers. Many towns throughout the county as well as the state are faced with the same hard decisions calling for reductions in their upcoming budgets. These budget cuts seem to be the sign of the times for things to come. My officers and I are also aware sacrifices must be made, but I'm hoping that a compromise can be reached with the Town Board to accept the cuts that I proposed without calling for any further reductions in police funding or personnel. I'm also respectfully requesting that current scheduling of my staff be maintained at its present level to avoid any safety or liability issues which would occur if patrol reductions were instituted. When preparing this year's budget, I took a hard look at last year's expenditures and every line item where the dollar could be shaved. By doing this, I reduced the police budget by nearly $180,550 from last year's figures. To make further reductions would mean placing undue pressure on me as the Chief of Police and will affect the department operations by eliminating more programs, several more critical line items, and/or the loss of personnel. We barely meet the minimum staffing needed to handle the number of calls we respond to on a daily basis. Without two active patrols, one for an East Post and one for West Post, as well as a sergeant on duty to handle station operations and patrol supervision to the quality of service to the Goshen residents, will certainly suffer. The sergeant is available to respond to service calls when the uniform patrols are committed to other duties or assignments. He is responsible for the arrest processing of male and female prisoners, and station operations and security. He handles the phones, all bail matters, and all evidence. He delivers patrol vehicles to service vendors for repairs and performs general maintenance on these vehicles, is also available for the public at the station. Scheduling a sergeant during a shift also provides a level of supervision and accountability in the event of a critical incident. The sergeant provides young patrol officers with the guidance tool. The sergeant also safeguards the department and officers against frivolous or unsubstantiated personnel complaints which could be leveled against us. The sergeant on duty improves the department's integrity and standards of accountability. With the present caseload and number of calls for service this department experiences on a daily basis, scheduling demands that a sergeant be present on most shifts. It only makes sense and is absolute necessity.